Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are building up to the soon release of Black Adam, we've decided to get on more of our Rock bullshit. We got to do more of the Rock.
We love The Rock, so we're going to go to the start. I believe the only movie he ever did as The Rock, I think? Or The Rundown might have been The Rock as well.
Ooh, I think this is the only one he starred in as The Rock. No, he was Dwayne for The Rundown.
You think he was
I
Dwayne
think he was
in The
Dwayne
Rundown?
The Rock for The Rundown. This one
just says The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah.
And obviously I think Mummy Returns he was The Rock, but that was a special appearance. That wasn't a lead role, you know what I mean? In Star Trek Voyager, I think he was The Rock, but he's not doing a lot in there. Shout out to Star Trek Voyager for having that one episode with Dwayne The Rock Johnson in there.
I loved the one episode with Dwayne The Rock Johnson on Star Trek Voyager. I liked that he just wanted to be in things. He's like, I just want to act. I think it was on the same network as SmackDown.
I believe
Voyager
it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I see the connection. I see how it happened. All the stars would align easily in that scenario.
Yeah, they're like, we got to get the Voyager fans over to SmackDown.
And we got to get the SmackDown fans over to Voyager.
That classic synergy of UPN. What channel
UPN
was that?
sounds right. No, UPN sounds right. And also there must be synergy because I watched both those things.
Yeah, that is true.
There is a crossover.
That is true. I loved that episode of Voyager. Liked most episodes of Voyager, frankly.
Well,
there was a lot of bangers there.
Voyager ruled.
Yeah. At one point, Janeway in Paris turned into like a future alligator. That show was bananas.
You have no idea how much Andrew will not drop this.
I will not.
You've seen pretty much every episode of Voyager, and it's the only one you bring up other than the one with The Rock.
Well,
you bring up The Rock, you bring up Janeway in Paris, turned into lizards and had kids in the future.
They went past Warp 10, and they became the most evolved form of man, which was basically just alligators.
Yep.
And Paris and Janeway had a baby alligator. Then they untransformed. So somewhere out there is like a little alligator type thing, which apparently is the most evolved form of man, and it is the child of Paris and Janeway, and that is insane. Voyager's a wild show.
Where's that spin-off show?
Where's that
you know?
one?
Where's the crocodile evolved Star Trek people?
But today,
though,
we are talking about the Scorpion King.
we will be talking about the Scorpion King after the theme music. We will get into the guts of the king.
Yes, we will do.
I regret all of that. Let's talk about Voyager again.
Oh boy!
let's wind it back.
Wow, we're going to be talking about the Scorpion King today on the podcast. Oof-a-ba-boof. It will be cleaner and better than that. I promise you.
Please stick around.
Frankly, for us to maintain that level of uncomfort and nastiness would be near impossible.
I don't want to have said it.
Yes.
And frankly, we have the ability to edit it out, but it's in there now. You know what?
But we won't.
The file has recorded it.
But we won't. I don't know how the computers work. So we're going to be talking about the Scorpion King today. Before we do, I want to let you, our wonderful listeners, know about an event that we have coming up on November 5th. On November 5th, us at the From Superheroes Network, myself, Diana, the other podcasts as well, we're going to be taking part in Extra Life Game Day, which is a 24-hour charity streaming event. So some of you might be familiar with Extra Life Game Day, some of you might not. What it is content creators from all around the world are doing a 24-hour marathon streaming session with all of the proceeds going towards Children Miracle Network hospitals. We have chosen Sick Kids Hospital, which is a big hospital, a pediatric hospital in Canada that's also a research hospital that helps take care of children and helps relocate and assist families as well, so you can stay together during treatments and things that and health issues that might be going on in their life. Wonderful hospital, wonderful cause. And what we are doing, we are going to be doing a marathon streaming session, 24 straight hours of content streamed to Twitch, free for you to watch and hang out with. We are going to be doing live recordings of every podcast that's on the network. So Talk from Superheroes, I hate it, but I love it. The Villain Was Right, the Phantom Show, streamed live to Twitch. So you're going to be able to see our faces, hang out with us, chat, do some special events. We'll also be doing video games. We'll be doing Jackbox party nights. We're going to do a watch-along party where Diane and I are going to be joined by the Fandom Show's Steph and Kaya, and we're going to be watching Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. So you can hang out in chat, watch a movie with us. That's going to be fun.
Y'all, this is all stuff that has never been available before from the network. This is genuinely a very special event we are doing. We have never done live podcast recordings on the internet. We've done them at private shows where you could buy tickets. But yeah, this is brand new, really fun stuff, and it's all for charity.
And it's all for charity, and it'll be available there to you. But if you want to support the cause, please donate today. If you go to extralife.fromsuperheroes.com, you can donate right now, before the event, during the event, but there's no reason to wait. Do it right now. All the proceeds go to Sick Kids Hospital. It's a fantastic cause. It'll help us reach our goal, and it also is going to get you into exclusive events, invites, prizes, and lots of things. So once we hit the $1,000 donation milestone, so once we hit 1,000 total, everyone who has donated is going to get an exclusive webcomic, an exclusive text from Superheroes that is not going to be released to the public. So you're going to want to be on board for that when we hit our $1,000 milestone. Donations afterwards, you'll still get the comic as well. But get on board. Every $20 donation gets you entered into a raffle to draw for prizes. So we're going to be drawing prizes on the live stream. We've got several different sponsors. We've got free t-shirts from tpublic.com and more sponsors to be announced. Every $20 gets you an entry in the chance to win one of our special prizes. And as well, if you donate $50 or more, you will get all of the Patreon, what were previously Patreon exclusive episodes of the podcast for this entire network. So that means Talk from Superheroes, I Hate It But I Love It, and If Villain Was Right, a total of over 270 Patreon exclusive episodes. If you donate $50 or more on November 5th, on game day, you're going to be emailed a link which will contain a folder that has all of the previous Patreon episodes. So if you've wanted to try out some of the Patreon exclusives for other podcasts on this network, maybe you're signed up for one but not all, $50 or more, you're going to get every previous Patreon exclusive for all the podcasts on the network, which is huge.
It's huge. You will not get them going forward, but there is plenty of backlog of the 3 podcast Patreon episodes. Real bangers in there, because we've heard every single one of them, and we've done 1/3 of them. Yeah. They are absolutely incredible. It's wonderful. You do not have to be watching live to win any of the prizes. We'll let you know if you win, so don't worry about that. If you enter early, enter later, you will be in all the prizes. So donate anytime. Extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. The link is in the show notes to make it easy to find.
Absolutely. So check it out. That's EXTRA life.fromsuperheroes.com. Also, the event schedule, more information about the charity, and everything that you might need to look up will all be there. extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. We hope to see you there. We hope to see you in chat. We hope for wonderful things at the live event on November 5th.
We hope I don't say any weird stuff the rest of this episode.
Let's not get weird for the rest of the episode.
No more weird.
But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Scorpion King. All right, so we have seen the Scorpion King, I think for the first time for myself. I think I'd only seen scenes on basic cable occasionally. Diana, had you seen this before?
I had never seen this movie.
So let's start with the usual and the simple question. Diana, did you like it?
I loved it. This movie slaps. It's so good. What's wrong with all of us? Why have we been making fun of the Scorpion King? It's fun. It's an hour and a half. It moves at a great clip. There is great jokes. There is not great acting, but there's not bad acting. There's acting. It's got acting in it. It's way better looking than I expected. There's 2 bad CGs and the rest is all practical. It's written by the same guy who wrote The Mummy, and also we'll talk about the second writer later because it's crazy. You're not going to believe who it is. Just an incredibly fun time. The Rock is always The Rock, even right off the bat. Guess what? He's The Rock. I had so much fun. There's a fun sidekick. Everything. Every button has been pressed. Wonderful popcorn flick. Just a total joy. Had an absolute joy of a time. Can't say enough good things about the Scorpion King. Andrew, did you like it?
I also think it slaps.
Woo!
I also think it slaps. I don't know if I'll give it a love because I don't know if I'm ever going to seek out or really want to watch it again.
I'd pop this on in a second.
Would you?
Yeah.
This is something that if someone was like, let's throw this on, I would never turn it off and I would never argue. And I'm going to tell I will say openly to everyone, if you haven't seen this movie, throw it on, have fun. If you did see this movie and thought it was bad, revisit it because something was wrong as a society that we misjudged this. I do think it's a ton of fun, but I'm not going to quite bump it up to a love because I don't think I'm going to seek it out again. But yeah, way better than people perceived it to be, than it was received, than it was judged. I honestly think that one bad CGI shot in The Mummy Returns ruined the entire concept of this for everyone because, like, I agree with you. The acting's not bad. The script is paint by numbers 90s action movie, but in the like most perfect, like they gave you the exact coloring book of what to do, of like, here's the jokey sidekick, here's the wise tacky one, here is the, you know, overly sexualized female character that perhaps is problematic and could grow, but like there's some stuff that is emblematic of problems of the time, but it's a paint by numbers blockbuster action movie that just kind of gets it done. The fight choreography is pretty fucking good. And the script is, like, not bad at all. Like, it's got decent punch up. The jokes land. And even as a structure, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. But, like, I was reading up on it, and it was like the writer said that, like, oh, this is kind of a play off Conan the Barbarian. And it is kind of that exact structure stolen, which doesn't make it the most original or exciting thing in the world, but it makes it completely functional. This top to bottom works, and it's fun.
Oh, yeah. If you take a structure that works and then you put in good jokes and charming actors and you work really hard on the fight choreography, that's a movie, baby.
That's a good movie. You're
That's
describing all the ingredients
like,
of a good movie.
You took a classic plot structure that we know works, and then you worked really hard at all the elements inside of it. Because even like costuming looks really good. The cities look great. Like, this is not the cheap like straight to video movie I actually thought it was. And I do think this movie is weighed down by that one terrible shot from The Mummy Returns. And I feel like I have to go on a campaign on this movie's behalf now. And I'm also like, I'm so confused by the IMDb rating because that is people who saw it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I thought this movie was bad just from general consensus. Mm-hmm. But to actually have seen it and be like, this is a 3. No. In no world is this movie a 3 anyway. Even in like today's time. Yeah. Definitely not in like 2002.
This is borderline a cult classic. Like, this is like a tight 90 minutes of fun. It's not quite there, but this is in the same ilk of like The Mummy, your Men in Blacks, of your like, we had a decade of just some tight 90-minute paint by numbers blockbuster action movies. And this is of that ilk.
Yeah, there is no fat on this meal. Like,
none.
When we say a tight 90 minutes, I mean sometimes scenes just kind of start and characters run into each other in ways that aren't explained. And instead of being annoying, they made it just fun.
Yeah.
It's just like, it doesn't matter why the chemist was in the desert. He's here now and they have gunpowder. I'm like, you know what? You're right, movie. It does just matter that he's here now and now they have gunpowder. Why was I questioning how the chemist got out here?
Yeah.
You're right.
If we can't make it logical, make it a joke.
It's just fun and a joke. And the whole movie has that vibe, so nothing feels out of place. You never feel like, oh, this serious movie has a plot hole. You're like, The Rock's just going to kill that dude. Let's go. The Rock's here to murder that guy.
Let's keep it moving.
And have a couple jokes along the way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a great film.
It does work. It does work. I think the thing that I was very impressed by, just kind of right off the bat, was, well, like, it helps when you compress everything together in a tight 90-minute action movie, but the pacing of the action scenes were really good. Mm-hmm, like, there was quite a few action scenes that were all well executed, that were spaced out between one another really well. Like, we get a good opening scene. We get one every act. Like, just, it moves at a good clip between the action. And the action is well choreographed and well directed. It's not overly edited. It's not heavy shaky cam. You can see what's going on. This is The Rock fresh out of wrestling. So this is The Rock at his most kind of agile as well, because
The smallest he's ever been.
which actually really functions for fight choreography, because The Rock today is a goddamn dinosaur. Like, he is giant. He's a fucking T-Rex. And that man isn't going to do like a cartwheel roll into picking someone up into a body slam anymore. He's just doing clotheslines. He's not doing the choreography. But this is like slim,
Velociraptor
lean,
Rock.
Velociraptor Rock doing wrestling moves and learning choreography at the speed of professional stunt people. And the stunt choreographer on this film was one of the stunt choreographers of Jackie Chan's fight team. And you can see the Jackie Chan influence of it all. All of the fight scenes have modifiers and exceptions. So it's not just like The Rock fights this guy. It's like The Rock fights this guy while he's tied down. The Rock fights this guy with a table. This guy now has a sword. The swords are on fire. The Rock throws a chicken at the guy. They are adding modifiers and props and comedy, and it's never enough just to be like, we punch each other. The fight choreo is really fun and good.
The fight, I did not know that it was a Jackie Chan stunt team guy, but I felt Jackie Chan in the whole thing, so I'm not surprised it was a Jackie Chan stunt team guy. Yeah, there is, and it makes it really fun in very interesting ways, because even the villain, Memnon, he's introduced as the greatest sword fighter, and he is. He's a way better sword fighter than The Rock. But The Rock is very Jackie Chan-esque in that he uses his environment, and the sword fighter guy does not. So the sword fighter's like, I'm the best sword fighter, and The Rock's like, well, what would you do if I jumped over this table and then like threw a shield? He's like, oh, I don't know. And there's a chicken here now. Oh no. What if I did the coolest thing in the world and pulled the arrow out of my back into my own bow? Oh my God, so cool. At one scene, he like knocks a big drum off a wall and uses it as a shield as it rolls, like very Jackie Chan-esque.
Yeah.
Like all the fight scenes are really fun, but have a lot of thought put into them. This is not just punch, body slam. It is thoughtful, fun choreography, used the space, and every fight was in a different fun location. Like
Right.
one of them's in like there's water everywhere. One of them he's surrounded by a harem, and the harem has stolen all his weapons before the guards come in. There's just really fun locations. So yeah, the oddly incredible fight scenes going on. Not like incredible best I've ever seen, but consistently great. Not like one really good one. Like every fight scene in the movie is super fun to watch.
And it's that consistency that makes it fun, is that like it's nothing groundbreaking. And legitimately it's like you can see on the Jackie Chan stunt team of it all, like you're right, the like hiding behind the spinning plate, I've been removed from the arms as I've lost my weapons while I'm in a brothel, this and that. They are straight up like you can look at it and be like, that is from Police Story. Like this one is from Project A. That is from Rumble in the Bronx. You can pinpoint the exact moment that this stunt choreographer used these exact moves for Jackie Chan and did it better. But Jackie Chan moves operated at 90% by a wrestling star is still really fucking fun. And it just works. Nothing reinvents anything, but it is just all of the funnest, poppiest, pulpiest elements of a blockbuster popcorn movie done at 90% capacity, and god damn it, that slaps.
Absolutely slaps. Yeah, I'm gonna do a couple positives of like specific things that were great. The sequence in the cave where he's like during the sandstorm where he's taking the guys out one by one. Everything about that was so fun. First you have quicksand out of nowhere. Sure. He like knew where the cave was, so that was planted in enough that it was like, okay, he knew there was quicksand in there. 2 guys die in quicksand. That gag with the shadow not being the guy you thought it was, and the shadow was actually The Rock, felt like Indiana Jones-esque.
It was flat out an Indiana Jones shot. It's another example of them just being like, let's take a great moment from another pop culture movie, flip it on its head, do that. And it was very well executed.
Incredibly well executed, so fun. And also just like really classic like reversal tropes are happening here. Like The Rock jumps off a building and the next shot is 3 women throwing flowers into a big pool of water. So you're like, The Rock's gonna land in that water. And The Rock just hits the ground. Like the opening of the movie The Other Guys when he aimed for the bush. But this came
But legitimate, yeah. But legitimately.
But he just hits the ground. And it's so funny. It's such a good like pullback of what you expected to happen. This movie is so much better than you think it is, you guys. I am so delighted right now.
And it is very humorous, and it knows the movie that it's making. Is the other thing too, is that I really thought, not having seen this, that it was of that blockbuster movie that had a bit of star power that maybe should have went straight to DVD, and like it's cheap and it doesn't quite work, and like we got the cheapest screenwriters, and it has no sense of humor or whimsy about itself. But this has whimsy. Like at any given point where it has the flaws of a blockbuster popcorn movie, it just kind of draws attention to it. It's like, we know the formula of this movie. We know that he would fall into the pond. Let's subvert that trope. Let's kind of do this. Let's have the alchemist who is in the castle walked in on and have the "Are you going to kill me?" conversation. And let's just go back there and make it kind of awkward and be like, how do I leave? And him like, the door? Like, let's just make it weirdly awkward. And there are moments like that where the movie seems in conversation with itself. And that's really fun and self-aware and playful and just a delight.
Just an absolutely delight. A few more positives. I will say this next one is incredibly surprising for a 2002 movie. I love the diversity of this cast. I love that the bad guys are all the white guys and the POC characters are all the heroes. It's really fun and surprising for 2002.
Yeah.
Because, like, the good guys, you got The Rock, you got Kelly Hu, you got, I do not know what Sidekick's name was, but you got Michael Clark Duncan. They never said this poor guy's name, but he was so funny.
Arpid, played by Grant Heslov. Yeah.
He was very funny. He was very great. And, like, all their armies all seem to be POC as well. Like, it's like, I was like, oh, wow, this is, like, what it should be. White guys are bad guys, and then, the characters who are, like, gonna win, but, like, are, like, bad guy, white guys suck. Just kind of swoop in at the end.
It does exist in that slightly awkward spot where, like, it is a very diverse cast, and that's wonderful. None of them are from the region that they are playing.
No, that is a very 2002 about it.
But I also don't want to be the white person who's like, this incredibly diverse movie wasn't regionally specific, and so it's. I'm dancing in a dangerous area here, but I agree that it is a diverse cast. It could use more female representation and maybe some representation from the region of the world that it is meant to be set in, but wonderful to see the diversity of the cast.
I will say, one thing they did was, The Rock is from a made-up country. Even though, like, the Mummy is set in Egypt or whatever, he's from a country called Akkad. And so he's an Akkadian. I'm like, oh, and I looked it up, and like they just made that up for the movies. So I'm like, oh, it kind of helps a little, honestly. You should probably still be from this continent. But for 2002, I'm going to give them a pretty impressive.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
For 2002.
Not bad at all. And it was, and also just lovely to see Michael Clark Duncan. Rest in peace, my man.
Oh, yeah, he was fun in this. He's always fun.
Michael Clark Duncan is able to do it all. Like, he's just one of these wonderful men where it's like, how are you the size of The Rock in this movie, bigger than The Rock? But also, you can do Oscar-worthy drama, incredible comedy. Like, you can do comedy, romance, drama, camp, sincere. Like, Michael Clark Duncan is just such a talent that was able to do it all.
Yeah, he could he could be the bad guy. You could be sure, like, he could be a fleshed out enough character that I'm like, I don't know if you'll betray The Rock or become his best friend, and I'll believe either one, but that's a compliment.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just like a stereotype character that I'm like, he's gonna betray him or he'll be his best friend later. I'm like, no, you're a complex man. You could go either way.
And when he does go the direction of friendship later in the movie, when he just like gives The Rock a simple smile, I'm like, you sold a lot in that smile where I'm like, oh shit, you are ride or die friends now. And it's a smile, and I think he had like one line, but I'm like, you really know how to deliver a line and put all of your goddamn back into it. Mm-hmm. And to be able to do that as a big muscular man who can also do comedy is just such a treat.
Yeah, definitely an absolute treat. I will also say, for 2002, I know this will be maybe controversial. I actually think Kelly Hu and the female characters are kind of treated great.
It's a mixed bag.
Because hear me out, they are exploited and they're not wearing much clothes, but neither are the guys. This feels like a very equal opportunity. Like you pointed out while we were watching it that there's this like sexy harp music that plays whenever she's kind of undressed, and they played the same music when The Rock had a sexy wound on his leg. And it was kind of great. Like, he really showed some leg and his top was off, and I'm like, looking good, Rock. Kelly Hu also looking good. Equality.
It is weirdly almost equal in that regard. Kelly Hu has more of it.
Yeah.
And like there is a lot of boob tape doing a lot of work in this movie. But yeah, that scene where it's like where he walks in on the sorceress and she's bathing and it plays that. I don't know the instrument. Like I notice music, but I don't know music that well. It's not quite a harp, but it plays that kind of like sexy, soothing, like
ooh. It's the classy version of ooh.
So it plays that when you walk in on her in the bath, but as she's like ripped all of his clothes off to tend to his wound and it's just rocking a loincloth, it plays it. Yeah, and I'm like, you're right.
Rock also had all of his armor cut off during his final fight scene and was shirtless again. And I was like, Rock, you also look incredible. So you should get all your armor ripped off every fight scene.
When he gets the bottom half of his top cut off and it turns into a crop top, it is straight up episode 2 Padme. And I'm like,
exactly.
And I'm like, is this equality? I'm down with it? Question mark.
And then I don't even remember how he lost the rest of the shirt because he's completely shirtless when the fight's over.
Yeah.
So at some point, the rest of it just crumbled away, I guess. I don't recall where it went.
So it's an interesting look, but yeah, he gets pretty nude for the most. But you know, he spent most of his career in underpants at that point. So.
Just underwear. So he was like, "This is a lot of coverage for me. Can we drop some of this? I can't fight with all this loincloth on.
I don't have a full range of mobility."
I've got a little bit of a short on.
Yeah.
I don't care for it, sir.
The short pulls.
How am I going to do a kip up with a little bit of shorts on?
I can't do a kip up with a little bit of shorts on.
But even the rest of the ladies, as much as it is just a lot of like showing hot ladies, they kind of all are fleshed out as well. Like half of them are warrior women at the end.
Yeah.
So they sneak in and they're just badasses who can fight, and they're just dressed like that because it's the desert and it's hot out. And I'm like, of course you are. I even like the switcheroo that the harem wasn't actually trying to have sex with him and they were just stealing his weapons so that the guards could kill him. Like that was another really nice like trope reversal of you're like, oh, it's just a scene to show some sexy women. And it's like, no, they have agency and they've decided to portray The Rock. And I'm like, oh shit.
They decided this instantly. He destroyed their window and they also are not happy about that.
That was their favorite window.
That was a good window. Do you realize how difficult windows are to install at the time? They are not easy. So, yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, obviously there could be more, like, ladies, but also hardly any characters are fleshed out. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, that is true. It is a pretty...
I didn't know the third main character's name. I'm still calling him Sidekick. Agrip, is that your name? Arpid.
Arpid.
Got his name wrong again.
Arpid. You got his name wrong again. You'll probably keep getting it wrong because...
He was my favorite character.
He was absolutely wonderful, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, so and I love his character. Let's talk about his character for a minute. Fun sidekick, jaunty little sidekick, a scrappy little cockroach who always survives. And it's like they took Benny from The Mummy, but they were like, what if Benny wasn't a dick?
What if Benny never turned on Brendan Fraser? Yeah. It is. I 100% felt that archetype. I mean, it's the same writer as The Mummy, so you know that he was just like, I love Benny. We're gonna get him back in here, just a little bit different. It won't be the guy who played Benny, obviously, but real Benny vibes.
Yeah.
Big Benny energy going on. Yeah, just like a weaselly guy who is not going to betray you, but he will slither away and survive on his own, or he will just steal some horses and be like, oh, we're in trouble now, I stole horses, but not in a betrayal way, just in I like to steal kind of way.
Yeah, and I'm actually, I'm likable, he's making friends at the bar and shit like that.
How's the kebab? Was so funny.
There were moments of, I believe, sincere improv in this movie, which is also rare for a paint-by-numbers popcorn movie as well. So I thought that was really fun and playful and good to see.
I also thought that was playful, and I feel like he was improving a lot. And I feel like we don't see The Rock improv a lot, and I think he improved a little bit in this. And I always found that very weird because wrestling, as much as wrestling was fake, you're improving your lines. Like, you didn't learn like 4 pages of exact dialogue before
Right.
you would go out and have like a verbal duel on WWE. So like he is an improver in a lot of ways. Like, he would go out there and just be like, all right, you're going to betray Triple H, but first, like, tell him that he's ugly. Like,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
you were supposed to do. Tell him to eat the pie.
Yeah, you're gonna sign the contract in front of Vince McMahon, but then you're gonna tear it up, and you gotta tell him to go fuck himself.
But it was never a line by line thing. You have to vibe it. You have to feel it. So I always do feel like in later movies, I'm actually always surprised that Rock doesn't seem to be improvising more.
Yeah,
And I feel like I miss it. Like, this feels like a more charming, like, I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything, like old school Rock. And it is old school Rock. It's original OG Rock.
I see what you're saying, though. It would be nice to see that Rock back. Whereas, like, the Rock now, it does feel very... sometimes it does feel very, like, mechanical at times. And even though we loved Jungle Cruise and he's fun and playful, it never feels like he's as loose as he was early on in his career.
Yeah, even in, I would say, like, Red Notice, where most of his scenes were with Ryan Reynolds, it felt like Ryan Reynolds was improving a lot, and The Rock was just like a wall that he was bouncing stuff off of. And I'm
Sure.
like, what a dream it would be to improv with Ryan Reynolds, though,
Yeah.
if you also liked improving.
And I think that is kind of the difference between where he's at now is that, like, obviously he works with phenomenal co-stars now, but I think when you're even coming from the pedigree of wrestling that he has, you're a young A-list movie star. You are a young first on the call sheet, but you're hanging around with people who have more experience doing this job than you, and you're trying to kind of play and keep up with them. You know, you're doing the rundown with Sean William Scott, and sure, it's like you're this huge multinational superstar, but this is a guy who spent more time on movie sets and is the goof around guy who's probably going off script, and you're trying to keep up. Whereas I feel like when you're working with even phenomenal co-stars, you're working with Emily Blunt. Emily's showing up, saying the words, getting the paycheck, and she's going to do a great
improving.
job of it. And also, The Rock's probably not scrambling anymore to keep up with his co-stars. But I can see Ryan Reynolds as someone who forces you to kind of fall back into that, like, oh my God, I got to keep up type of state.
Oh, we're not going with what we wrote down and that I memorized?
Yeah.
Well, let's go, sir.
Which I think is a good place for The Rock to be in, like a little bit off balance. And those are the characters that he plays the best and the most charming. It's this, it is The Rundown, it is Jungle Cruise, it's Red Notice. It's that person who's like a little bit on their heels of like, what the fuck is going on? And he plays that better than like, I know everything, I'm Hobbs or Shaw, whichever one I am.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on is so much fun because it's always like, I can handle it, but what is this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm still very competent and I'm going to take care of it, but what the hell? You have magic? There is... like, what's going on here? Yeah. I still can't believe, because we sat down so sure this movie was going to be bad, and we sat down and you said, you know what? I've never not liked a Rock movie. And I feel like you willed this movie into being good somehow via that statement.
Yeah, I've
It
never
seems
fully
impossible.
disliked a Rock movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
The
think that,
record
like,
stands. I think Hercules was the closest.
And Hercules, one of my biggest complaints is that for 40 minutes, The Rock's not in it. So it was a lie. Hercules was a lie.
You don't like lies.
I don't like lies. I think Doom might have been our closest to a dislike of a Rock movie.
Oh, I remember Doom being like, fine. But The Rock's not doing much Rock stuff.
But that's what the closest to a dislike that I can think of for a Rock movie.
Here's a weird, maybe the word diversity is wrong, but I'll use it. Here's a weird diversity credit to this movie.
Sure, I can't wait to see where this goes.
The animal sidekick is a camel.
Whoa!
You don't see a lot of camels.
That is true. You do not get a lot of
Even
camel
in the Mummy
sidekick.
movies, I don't remember any camel work.
I think that there are some camels around, but camel sidekick would be a strong statement to say. And I think that this is one of the few camel sidekicks I've seen.
And also a camel sidekick who never just falls into the trope of I spit on people. Not one spit joke.
Not one spit joke.
No, this camel is breaking camel stereotypes. He is like, no, I am a serious actor. I am here to be the animal sidekick of this film that will help The Rock in any given situation. I will find the place to hide from the sandstorm. I will break down a thing I am tied to so the rock can land on me when he jumps off a building. Just a loyal creature. I don't think it got a name, but I love him.
I believe it did, but I forget it. But fun, charming, and like physically there. It had a lot of personality. Like, yeah, kneeling down for the sorceress to be like, let's fucking go, sorceress.
Yeah.
We're doing this, girl.
Love an animal that can kneel.
Love
That's just
that.
full of personality right there.
Like a horse that helps you get on it. Like what a gentleman.
And horses can do that, but they don't like it.
They
That's
do
a
not
really
like it.
big deal to get a horse to do that, from what I understand. But camels are just like, no, I'm stronger than that.
Yeah.
I'm more capable of bending my legs.
I'm smarter and better, and my legs bend more. Yeah.
and I'm full of water.
And isn't that's fun?
That's so fun.
Camels are fun, majestic creatures.
They're not getting the credit they deserve. Another thing the Scorpion King is just tearing down walls about more camel respect in this world.
Yes, I understand.
Even the movie itself, because like The Rock's brothers make fun of him for riding a camel. They're like, why not a horse? He's like, camels are smarter. I'm like, fuck. Did the person who wrote this movie own a camel? Like, what is up with?
Frankly, I'm getting a little bit tired from Big Camel forcing propaganda into these films. Like everyone talks about how it's like, the U.S. Army pays for MCU movies, but no one's talking about how Big Camel has really gotten into the supernatural fantasy world,
You know what? We haven't seen the other 4 Scorpion King movies.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet they're sponsored by Big Camel.
All over it.
All over it. And maybe the cigarette company.
Yeah.
It's probably them.
I think the cigarette company is kind of like piggybacking off of some of the good faith that camels are getting. Maybe,
we hear you like camels.
You know what? Maybe that's what hurt the general perception of camels as well.
Shit.
Maybe Joe, I'm pretty sure Joe Camel is the camel from Camel Cigarettes.
Sounds like a name.
I believe it's Joe Maybe Joe and like the general perception of cigarettes is like really what hurt them. And they're like, we gotta bring back camels now.
Yes. That's the answer.
That's the answer?
That's absolutely it.
We finally figured it out. But I do love this sidekick. I don't love how forced scorpions are into this film. For the Scorpion King and a scorpion stuff and scorpion, like there's like one scorpion, it's a loose poisoning, it doesn't kill the rock, and then like the sorceress is just like, once you've been poisoned by a scorpion, you have scorpion blood for life. Which is not how poisoning or scorpions work. And like, just like, what are we doing
What
here?
does that even mean? You have scorpion blood for life. Like, it felt like he was going to get bit by a vampire and the vampire was going to be like, oh shit, is that scorpion blood? Oh no. It gave him no abilities. It gave him no impediments to like fighting or anything.
Yeah.
It did not matter that he had been bitten by a scorpion. Now, I did find it funny. Oh, sorry. You seem like you're going to.
No, I was just going to say, and scorpions, not particularly deadly as well.
Are they not? They're just like hurt.
I mean, they're deadly if you are another animal that like a scorpion is your predator of, but to humans,
We got that extra blood.
It's a smaller amount of scorpions that are like deadly and fatal to humans, and it's got to be in a pretty sweet situation.
So are scorpions, because I also kind of thought, I'm like, are some people like allergic to scorpions, like bees? Because bees don't have much venom, but like a lot of people are allergic to bees.
Ooh, that's a good question.
So maybe we're allergic to scorpions?
Maybe.
Maybe now he has no allergic reaction to scorpions.
Oh, maybe that she breathed an EpiPen of magic into him, and that's all it was.
I think she sucked out the poison.
Okay.
She inhaled.
She inhaled it. All right.
What I did like, though, I agree, not enough scorpions, very low scorpion base. This should have been called the Camel King, if anything. But I also did like that the movie, I don't know if on purpose or just we were expecting it, kept setting up scorpions.
Yes.
And then there were no scorpions. Because the very first thing one of the first things that happens to The Rock is he gets sentenced to death and he gets tied up in the sand in the desert. And he can't be killed by a man because of a prophecy. To listeners, this is what's been set up. So a man cannot kill him. So he gets tied up in the desert. And we look at each other, we're like, scorpions. And then fire ants come out of the holes.
It's like,
We're like, what? Fire ants.
Where the fuck are the scorpions?
He's the Scorpion King. Or like he should have like scorpion logos on. Like my people worship scorpions.
And I think they try to sneak that in at one point. There's a big statue of Memnon being erected, and Memnon is
he did have a scorpion
and
chest.
the statue has this giant scorpion pendant that Memnon never wears in this movie, so
No.
it does seem like an afterthought when they were making that prop or CGIing that prop. So that feels like an afterthought. But yes, there's the desert scene where it's fire ants instead of scorpions.
There's a bunch of barrels full of snakes.
When they do the snake thing, so basically they do a Russian roulette where Memnon the king is like, "Ooh, I don't trust this sorceress anymore. Could she actually see the future?" Here is 6 vases, and 2 of them are safe to put your arm in, and 4 of them contain venomous snakes. I'm the Scorpion King. I am the Scorpion King.
Where are the scorpions? What is going on? This feels like if the movie Spider-Man was full of bees. And at one point, 3/4 of the way through the movie, Peter Parker got bit by a spider and his life didn't change.
It continued pretty much on the same path.
Real normal spider bit him. Or no, he got bit by a radioactive spider, but then his friend, the Scarlet Witch, just pulled the radiation out of him and he was fine.
Yeah.
That's what happened in
very much
in
like
that
this.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
movie.
fire ants, venomous snakes. You've got to get more scorpions if you're going to call yourself the Scorpion King, and then The Rock the Scorpion King. And I do not remember The Mummy Returns, but he is a scorpion in that, and it's like you need at least 90% more scorpion.
Way more scorpion. Like some kind of pit full of scorpions that you could have kicked Memnon into. Literally any increase in scorpions in any way you'd like to increase the scorpion levels. Especially because he wasn't even directly stung by a scorpion.
Yeah.
That was like a poison that he made at home, Memnon. He like killed one scorpion and put it on an arrow. And I'm like, I wouldn't even know that was a scorpion poison.
Right.
Like, what do you do? Smell the wound? You're like, oh, that's a scorpion right there.
I mean, she is a sorceress, so I'll give her
is,
that.
and she's a real sorceress.
She has actual magic.
So she does. Actually, you know what? That's a great point.
And you make a great distinction. A real sorceress.
This isn't like a Greek, what were they? Prophets who just smelt gas.
Oracles or prophets. Yeah.
Oracles who just smelt gas and got
And then
high.
trip balls and
Yeah,
was like,
no.
oh, I got an idea.
No, this lady actually had legit magic.
Yes, there's actual magic in this film.
So just her.
Just her.
No one else.
No one else, but she does have magic. She was able to suck the poison out of him when he was hit by a scorpion arrow. Another thing that I do like about this movie, now that I got a quick scorpion goof out of the way, I really like this final fight piece between the Rock and the King Memnon, when like the whole place and palace is on fire. Like it's just a really nice set and a good like setting for this fight. It adds tension. The Rock like cutting through a flaming tapestry as he jumps forward through it. I'm like, it's just a well laid out room, good fireworks, some good practical effects mixed with a handful of VFX elements tastefully done. Like, I really like this final fight scene.
The final fight scene is great. I will say for like a movie that I don't know what its budget was, and for a movie that's trimmed down so much, like to be like so short and so snappy, great geography of every fight. Like I know where they are at all times. I think this was a compliment you had earlier though of like the fight scenes are filmed so well. Like no short little cuts, no hiding anything. They're just like The Rock fought a guy and we filmed it all. Like in like 2 takes. Like they just did the straight fight. But yeah, the geography is just laid out so great of like, I knew where the first room with the snakes were. You go through the tapestry. Oh, now you're in the courtyard. We've established where that is. Yeah, really just like you can follow it all. I know where all like the 3 armies that are fighting around him are. One of them's underneath, 2 of them are above. Yeah, really incredible like geography for such a quick snappy film of characters we barely met and a location we only just arrived at. This movie works.
And for a movie that was like filmed with a relatively like a mid-sized budget in a short period of time as well. Like I was watching there was an interview online with the stunt coordinator of this movie, kind of talking about working with The Rock, and it was like, what was that like when you're used to working with Jackie Chan and now you're working with The Rock? And the simple answer is he's like, The Rock was a pro. It was like working with a dancer or any stunt person where like physically his movement is a little bit different. But I only ever had to go over choreography once with him because he's used to doing fights with like 10 minutes notice. So it like the stunt coordinators talking about him, like it was his first motion picture. I was expecting to have a lot of problems and we would have to edit around him and things like that. But I'd go up to The Rock, be like, you do this, you do this, you do that, you do that, you flip him here, you jump over here, you roll over there. And The Rock would be like, okay, got it, let's start rolling. And The Rock just has it, because he has the ability to memorize that kind of physical movement that quickly and that easily. So not having, a stunt person's or, a Jackie Chan's background, but the dancer's ability to be able to memorize movement quickly allows you to make a blockbuster movie that you don't need to hide it in a shit ton of edits or hide it in a bunch of shaky cam. It's like, you don't need to, because they filmed in half the time with half the budget with a guy who was able to memorize it and get it on the first day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I get why wrestlers become action stars, because also when you think about it, like also in wrestling, you only get one take. Like you're doing it live in front of a crowd. So of course, if the stunt coordinator is like, can you do like 5 moves in a row? He'd be like, 5? I can do a 20-minute fucking WrestleMania fight in straight with no rest in between. Mm-hmm. Let's go. He would not have any problem with that. Yeah, so it's fun to watch. It moves, it flows. It's Jackie Chan. It's literally The Rock doing Jackie Chan.
And The Rock, I think, picked such a good time in his career to leave wrestling as well. Not only in terms of fame and the height of his appeal and obviously price tag as well when it comes to getting in acting, but one strength that someone like him and Dave Bautista as well certainly had is the luxury of leaving wrestling while your body still physically works. Is the other thing, because when we talk about wrestlers have that ability, that's great, but a lot of wrestlers who try to pivot to acting do it after it's like, I actually can't tumble. My knee is fucked if I actually can't get low to the ground in any way. Like, I left wrestling and moved into acting because my joints are ruined. I've got no cartilage. I can't take a hard fall anymore. But The Rock pivoted, and Batista and a handful of wrestlers pivoted at the right time, where it's like, my body still works, and I have the mind of a wrestler and a choreographer and a dancer and someone who can memorize this, but I can still actively do it without having to switch out to a stunt double every time because I'm not ruined yet.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I never would have thought of that, but yeah, I think that's very true, definitely of The Rock. I wonder if John Cena got out a little late, because John Cena playing Peacemaker is a lot of just like, I punch and I shoot a gun, and not a lot of like the moves we see The Rock do in this kind of stuff. So
Sure.
I wonder if maybe John Cena is like I can do fights, but like I'm a little wrecked.
And I think that like there are ways to compensate where John Cena has very much been like, I understand comedy. Like,
he is so good at comedy.
Like, he is someone who's just like, he's got an improv coach, he's got a comedy coach. Like, he's like, I can't do certain things, so I'm compensating one way. Batista, I'm sure has a few injuries and is like, I can seriously act though. Like, I can actually, like, I could win an Oscar someday. I can fucking act. So like, you can compensate in certain ways, but when you look at that same era of wrestling and it's just like, Stone Cold starts doing some action movies.
Oh yeah,
and
he doesn't do a lot of moves
but,
whenever I see Stone Cold in an action movie.
You're wearing a 9-pound knee brace or whatever, and it's like, we've got the wrestler who can do some stuff, and it's like, nah, that wasn't the right time to move over. So The Rock is either incredibly intelligent or lucky, and I think with a lot of major celebrities like him, the answer is a bit of both. It's a bit of like lightning and alchemy all kind of happening at once.
Yeah, well, I'm happy for The Rock. He deserves it.
He does.
And one thing I said I was going to mention off the top that I was holding on to, you guys are never going to guess who the second writer of this movie is. Only if you already know. You won't guess it.
David Hayter.
David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake, is the secondary writer after the writer of The Mummy on this film.
Now, also a screenwriter himself.
Yes.
Worked on the X-Men films, Watchmen as well. Currently, Warrior Nun on Netflix. So, a voice, obviously accomplished voice actor who will soon be on the Fandom Show, our other podcast on the From Superheroes Network. He will be a guest on there. Wonderful guest, wonderful episode. Look forward to that. Subscribe to the Fandom Show wherever you listen. But accomplished voice actor, accomplished screenwriter. But I knew X-Men, I knew Watchmen. I did not expect him to just kind of pop up here.
That was what was so surprising, because we did just have him in our studio doing Fandom Show. That episode's coming out soon, and he mentioned X-Men and Watchmen. So I'm like, but he also, I think, said, like, I don't do a lot of screenwriting, and I hadn't done, like, a lot in a while. So I'm like, oh, those are the only two he did, and I didn't check his IMDb about other movies he wrote. So when we naturally just turned on Scorpion King as a rock movie, and David Hayter's name popped up, it's like, how many movies did you write, my dude? it's just like 6.
We should have asked him about the Scorpion King when he was here in the studio.
I am so upset that I didn't get to tell him that we genuinely love this movie.
It is disappointing that we didn't get to bring that up.
It feels really, because I'm sure he hears about Watchmen and X-Men all the time. But who's bringing up Scorpion King?
Who's bringing up
Would have
that
just
the
been us.
Scorpion King works? It's us.
It's a banger.
Woo!
Woo!
I'm feeling good on the Scorpion King. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I mentioned it once. I have to say it again. He pulls an arrow out of his back that's like been impaled in him and puts it into a bow. It was so fucking cool, you guys.
It's pretty boss.
Watch this movie.
Yeah, it's pretty boss. And I like little things like they establish that the bow is like much tighter strung than other bows. They establish that the villain can catch arrows, but it's like not arrows going at the speed of this special bow that he has.
They established the bow was like in the scene and another character had carried it in.
Little
things pay
details
off.
and work that they did.
Yeah, little details, and then they don't care how characters meet out in the desert. But I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I'm like, objects need explanations and characters don't, because characters can just wander around.
I guess.
But an object you have to place somewhere. So we're gonna be clear about object work. Oh, also there were so many cute little like smart things. When he made that telescope out of a crystal,
yeah, that was cute and fun.
It was so quick. It was like they acted like we'd seen it before. They're like, you know how you like take a little tube and you put a crystal in it, and when you move a crystal, it goes like different magnifications. And I'm like, not in pre-medieval times.
Yeah.
What are these times? Egyptian times?
I forget the name of the era, but still.
It was cool. It was so quick and so cool.
This movie is greater than the sum of its parts of all of the people working on it. Like, it's just one of those sweet spots where it's like, well, we had the original Mummy writer do a pass, and then X-Men's David Hayter does a pass, and the stunt choreographer is by Jackie Chan's stunt team. And I don't know, there's this rising star, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We'll see how that goes. Like, it's just one of these things where, like, everyone is like the second best person at their job, all coming together at the height of like of this mid-budget prequel movie that pops off.
Yeah, if literally everyone on the movie is the second best at someone, that's the second best movie ever made.
Yeah, and I don't even mean second best, but like pre the height of their powers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
fair enough,
Yeah. It's so interesting.
So interesting.
Well,
I feel like redemption for Scorpion King, you guys.
Redemption for Scorpion King. Give it a shot. Let's go into the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? So now that we discussed everything, what would you change about this movie if you could change anything? Before we do ask the final question, we will remind you, as we do every week, to please rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us move up the charts. It helps us find new listeners. It's free, and it only takes a couple of minutes.
It only takes a couple of minutes. Leave reviews for other podcasts you listen to. Once you got it open, you start leaving those 5 stars, you're going to get into a flow. And if you leave a review, guess what? If other podcasters are probably like us, and they get an email when they get a review, and they go, ha-ha, nice. And that's what we do every time we get a 5-star review. So if you need a direct line to the podcasters in your life, Reviews are the way to do it.
Reviews are the way to do it. So do that. That's a free way to support the show. If you do want to support the show monetarily, you can do that over on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe at whatever is in the budget, and you'll get different levels of cool bonuses for having done so. So even at the $1 a month level, so at $1, you get our webcomic Texts from Superheroes a day early. You get texts from the future is what you get when you sign up at the $1 level. And then there are multiple levels. At the $10 hero level, you get a bonus episode of this podcast every single month as well. This month's Patreon exclusive episode was on Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. That's up and that's available right now. And at whatever level you sign up at, you are not locked in. You can cancel on any given month. You can lower, you can change. You can do whatever fits your budget. And even if you just want to do a dollar just to support the network, just to show your love, those add up, make a world of difference. We wouldn't be the network that we are today if it weren't for $1 patrons. So do not feel shy about doing $1.
We love all of our patrons. We are very excited for $1. We're very excited for $10. If you do think you want to be a patron for a while, if you sign up for a year, you get a month free. And something I will explain, because someone said this made them feel better, the month free is because you're not paying transaction fees every month. So it's actually like still the same amount going to us, and then you've just saved your money on transaction fees.
Oh.
That's how it works.
That is, see, this
Math.
is the type of financial insider information you get with Diana McCullough.
I've got some less insights than you think, but I got that one.
You have some insights.
I've got a few.
That's important to know. You get a month free. That is why, and lots of different options, lots of different bonus content, lots of different subscription levels, whatever's in your budget. So check it out over at patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That's patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And a sincere thank you to all of our current and all of our considering or future patrons. We appreciate you.
Thank you, patrons.
And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? Diana, what would you change?
Not much of a change. We basically touched on it a lot already. I'm adding more scorpions. The title doesn't make sense. There needs to be more scorpions around. I think the way I would fix it, I guess, is Memnon is the one kind of obsessed with scorpions. They did show that he had a scorpion on his chest on the statue or whatever. He's making scorpion venom. So I think he needs like a big vat of them, and that's what he sends out. And then the sorceress is like, you have scorpion venom now. And I think when he goes to fight Memnon at his home, he can control scorpions now. Just a little bit. Not too much, but enough that like the vat of scorpions will tip over and they'll go towards the rock and they'll be like, nah, and they go and kill Memnon instead.
Interesting.
Something like that. He needs to be a king of scorpions is all I'm saying.
Yeah, because she does say now you have scorpion blood, which is, again, not how venom works. But if it is a thing, then maybe the scorpions recognize the scorpion blood that he has.
I don't think scorpions sting each other. So maybe they go up and they're like, oh, he's already full of scorpion venom.
He's already good. Yeah, I think they do, but it's either a fighting or fucking thing. I'm not sure what their story is.
Interesting.
I think so.
Well, that's my change.
That's your change.
I'm not putting the fucking in.
No, I wasn't asking. That wasn't a pitch. That wasn't a soft pitch.
I'm scared to ask what your change is.
It's not going to be scorpion fucking.
Okay, if you promise.
I promise.
All right, what's your change?
But Diana, I like your change. There should be more scorpions. I couldn't agree more. There should be more scorpions. I think my only change is that I like everything that you had to say earlier about the female characters being kind of empowered and driven in many regards in this. I would like to have seen one other than the sorceress kind of like step up and have a character, because it's like, we have the like the collection of the free tribes, and it's like there's the one Amazonian all-female, very Grace Jones in Conan the Barbarian type of a thing, and it's like, oh, that's cool. And like they have a line or two here or there, but I'm like, I don't know any of your names or personalities. And I would like at minimum one other female character to have a name and a personality and kind of stick around a little bit longer. And that would kind of make it feel a bit more balanced, because even though there are sneaky moments of empowerment and equality in here, I would like a fully fleshed out additional character.
I can fully get behind that. I think that's a very fair analysis and criticism, because like there's, even though it's a short movie, like the dudes all feel fleshed out. Like even Memnon, guy from Twilight, like his name's Balthazar, actually.
Balthazar, yeah.
He's like full guy.
Even
Michael Clark Duncan,
the goofy
chemist.
alchemist, yeah.
Yeah, like they're all like people who, I don't know their name because I don't even know the Rock's name in this, but they're like fully fleshed out characters, and the Amazons are all interchangeable.
Yes.
Yeah, so there could be a lead Amazon who gets to do more.
Yeah, because Michael Clark Duncan has a full fleshed out character. It only takes a scene or two to really
Even
flesh
that
them out in this movie.
Even that little kid.
Yes, the little kid is very fleshed out as well. So yeah, just I would like another female character, please. I don't feel like I'm asking much here.
I love that request, and thank you so much for it.
I feel like I've really aimed for the medium.
Maybe the camel was a girl.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
It's like when you watch Jurassic Park and you're like, all the dinosaurs are ladies.
We're definitely going to get a tweet from someone who knows camels telling us to be like, because you know how there's like one hump, two hump?
I had something about the humps does
is
tell you.
Is that a male-female thing? Or is that just two different species of camel?
They all have humps, I think, but the hump's different.
Yeah?
Depending on like if you're a guy or a girl.
Interesting.
I think the size is different.
Okay.
It's their version of boobs, I guess.
All right, well, someone get at us. Let us know if that camel's male or female.
And the scorpions fuck with their tails.
And the scorpions fuck.
Lots of questions. Lots of questions this week.
There's lots of stuff going on. It's a busy week here on the podcast. I think we've did it. I think we've done it. We did it. We've done it.
We did it. The Rock did it right out of the gate. Still hitting 100%.
Well, that's going to be it for this week on the podcast. We are going to be back next week, and we are going to be talking about Werewolf by Night.
Oh, that's going to be fun, I think. I don't know anything about this.
I'm at the very least intrigued.
Very intrigued.
My interest peaked.
Oh, peaked, you say?
I've been peaked. So next week we'll be talking about Werewolf by Night. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, by the way, don't forget, November 5th, Extra Life Game Day. Visit extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. Donate now, get in on the prizes. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me online at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can reach me at Words of Diana.
And you can reach both of us at From Superheroes, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.